Alrighty, hello everybody and welcome back, Okay, so I did a bit of a recording here and kind of made a mess. And now I'm just trying to solve the mess that I made. And I think I'm close to being able to do that. So, let's look at the mess, shall we? There it is. There is the mess. So, essentially, I'm going to get rid of about 99% of this. Let's see. That can go. That can go. Alright, so let me explain what we're looking at here. So we have the radar. Okay, we have the radar from the last video. Now, what I've done. Here, let's do this. This. We don't need any of that. Alright, I've just been testing and making sure I knew what was going on. Okay, so we have the radar. We have target number 1. What it does, it saves the distance and it saves our rotation. Alright, so I believe if I look at this properly, I believe I can fly. Let's see. Channel 1 is distance. Channel 2 is our rotation. Okay? Channel 1 is our distance. Channel 2 is our rotation. So what I want to do now is I want to take a composite right number and I want to put in 16 channels. Okay? So 1 is distance and 2 is rotation. Okay? We are working with the medium range. I'm gonna back this up. I'm gonna use the short range because then we might be able to see it a bit better. This is the short range here. So let's get this over here. Alright. The radar still goes through the master Lua. Short, medium, and that's the long range. Okay. So what we need to do is, what I did is I took one of these Lua scripts and I edited it. So that way, number 1 is the distance and number 2 is the rotation. And then we need to convert that rotation into a degree. And then what we do is we can just put a circle on the screen. So, number 1 is the rotation. So this first number here is the rotation. Every second number. Oh boy. All right, so that first 8 numbers coming in. Those first 8 channels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's going to be the distance for all 8 targets. So, this is target number 1. This is target number 2. This is target number 3. So, whenever these fire, it's going to save those 2 values. Those are the values that we want. And then we're going to be able to print that onto the screen. So, if I was making a line, let's say, on the screen, what I could do is I could use these numbers to make that line on the radar like we do. Alright, so now why is all that important? Well, why is it important? Because we want to sort of know in relation to us where the radar is. And right now we don't have any way of doing that. Currently, we can only detect a target when the radar is telling us, hey, we have a target, because that is how these scripts were programmed. These scripts are programmed, however, to is this our there it is. So these scripts turn on. I'm just having just my brain just stopped working there for a minute there. I'm just trying to think on the fly, and it is not working. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we'll send that number out. There's a display, and we'll send that number out. Yeah, that's just not working at all. Okay, so where are we going at? So it'll save these numbers. Those numbers will go into the Lua script, and then we should have dots populated on the screen, and they will reset whenever it detects a new target. So this way we don't get a screen. We only get 8 targets on the screen, and that's it. Right? You know, when I was doing this in the past, it would add the targets to a list, and then it would print them wherever they were, and you couldn't follow it. Now, what we're doing, now it might not really be detecting stuff, because it detects stuff at a kilometer, and like it's probably grabbing stuff inside the ship. Yeah, it's probably grabbing stuff inside the ship. It's also scaled to 1 kilometer on the monitor. See, there's the blue. So each target is detecting what we want it to detect. Let's see if we can get rid of the scale and just see if we just on one of the numbers. The first number, we'll get rid of the scale here. We'll just do that. Now it should, instead of be in the center of the screen, it should be off center of the screen a little bit, and then we can just tell. Yeah, there we go. See, it's down there now. So it's detecting different targets and it's moving. That is super cool. So now we're able to live track, quote unquote, not live track, but quote unquote, we're able to track targets as they move across the radar. So let's change this back, and it's scaled, right? Divided by 48. So we know that if this one is a kilometer, short range is a kilometer. I'll have to put that somewhere. All right, so there we have it. The numbers saved, and then they're printed. That's it. So that's our short range. Let's do it with the medium range. And we can do it also with the long range. So the medium range, same thing. It just plug in. It'll go to here. And then what we'll do is we'll take the video and we'll bridge it through. And then we'll connect the other radar to it. All right, so you see how complicated this is. This is really starting to get complicated. What would be an easier way of connecting this? Let's see here. I'll just connect here. Whatever. So we want the composite to go to there. And we want that to go to there. Right, because we're not sharing the composite across the Lua scripts. We don't want to do that. Otherwise, the radar is going to get confused. We only want one Lua script. We're only sharing the video across. And now this one here is the medium range. Oh no, that's the rotation and stuff. Okay. So that's what we want to do. So in theory right now we have 1, 2, 3. So we have our short, medium, and long range radar. And what that's going to do is it's going to actively detect targets by drawing a line to where the target is. Then what it's going to do is whenever it detects a target, it's going to save that value and it's going to put a dot on the screen where those targets are. So you're going to see that here, and it's going to look pretty cool. So let's get this connected, and then we'll connect the long range one. Uh-oh. Oh. Come on. Alright, I did it for there. So now we're gonna do this here. Let's see. We'll get rid of that one. Okay. And we'll compress this. There we go. Run that into there, and then now we need the long range. So this has been an evolution. Understand that this wasn't something I just thought of or was able to create in a day. This has been many hours of playing around with radar, thinking about it, plus updates that they've done to the game, which has all finally made this kind of stuff possible. And I'm so happy that it's just really cool. It's such a cool feature, and to be able to use it, I think it's so cool. Alright, so we have these inputs here that I'm going to need to delete, but that's okay. So there you have it. Short, medium, and long range radar. We're able to save the values. We're able to, now let's see how it looks on the screen. Yeah, you see how this one is off? So we'll likely have to go for a bit of a journey. See if we can get some more. Now we can superimpose this over top of a map. But I mean without a scale, you know. But we could do that. It doesn't really, the map doesn't, we'd have to make, yeah, that's going to be a difficult one. So I don't know whether medium range Oh, there we go. Did you see that? Ah, that's cool. Yeah, nice. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. How's that for radar? Yeah, how's that for radar? Ooh, look, 2 targets. Did you see that? That, I like that. Nice. Okay, so we could superpose the map over that. Now, let's see how much time we have here in this video. Oh, it's only 15 minutes in. Okay, let's see if we can dive into that. So for that, we're gonna need. Let's take a look at the artificial horizon. Where are we here? Because what we'll need to do is we'll need to create a square, and then we'll need to rotate that square. But I just need to see the square, or... Does it really matter? It probably doesn't really matter, to be honest. Probably doesn't matter. We probably could run the map through there. So the map is there. This is the... that one there. So we could just add an input here. Hold on. Oh, there's input and then there's the gunnery monitor. Well, which one am I using? Gunnery monitor and input. Okay, so we're just bridging it through here. We're just bridging. So we could add the map here. Do we add it here? Is this the GPS? No. No, the best thing we can do is add a video node to this. I'm all over the place. I thought it would be just a little more organized. So the best thing we can do is go back into here. I'm so glad that I was able to get that to save and work. It looks so cool. Because it's an evolution, right? And I keep thinking, if we're in a fighter jet and we're flying around really fast, we need to be able to track the things that are around us. And I'm like, how do we do that? So, you know, I try and build a 360 radar. I try and do this, I try and do that. And some things work and some things didn't. But you got to kind of, you know, that's why I'm like, I discovered the code and I'm like, okay, this is the code and we put it out there. But there's so much more, you know, you need to design it and play with it and figure it out. Like, is this going to work? Is this not going to work? There's a lot of that problem solving, right? Before we can get to something that's like, yeah, it's starting to kind of work. It takes a lot of failure to get there. A lot of failure. Okay, so we have one video connection right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change one of these inputs. Target distance pivot. Let's see, radar rotation. Short save reset. I'm going to change this over to a video, and this is going to be map in. Okay, so now keep in mind the map obviously isn't to scale. I tried to figure out a scale. It's going to be really impossibly difficult. All right, and then the zoom for the map is actually down here on this side. Now we could set a zoom. Again, I don't really know how that works. Yeah. In all my research, I've never figured out what the zoom means on the map. So like here we are right now, right? And if I zoom the map out to 1, what is that? Is that 1 kilometer? So then I can say, okay, if I estimate here, and I look over there, I could say, it's about a half a kilometer. So if that's about a half a kilometer, then a kilometer is going to be approximately there, which is the second line, which is basically, you know, the maximum distance of the radar. Of the smallest radar is 1 kilometer. So, okay, so if we think of that as the scale, then let's see, let's look at the lines. The first one is 12. So 4. So, you know what I mean? So what we need to do now? What we need to do now is we can finally pick a scale. Finally, we can pick a scale for our radar. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so hear me out. So we have the circles on the screen, right? So our long-range radar can be the maximum size. And then our mid-size radar can be maybe somewhere in here between 24 and 36. And then our short-range radar can be, you know, maybe something like that. Maybe we'll go 36 would be mid-range, 24 would be the short range. And then that way it'll be anywhere between 12 and 24. And that can kind of give us a decent scale to work with. Ooh, I like that. I really do like that, actually. So if we think of that scale, then this is our mid-range, and that's going to be 36. Is that what I said there? 36. Okay. So now what we need to do is change this. Alright. So now the maximum distance is going to be to the, not the outside line, but the one just inside it. Ooh, this is neat. See, now we're really starting to calibrate the radar and dial it in. Alright. And then in the short range, it'll be 24. Alright. Oh, and then we need to change also the scale in here. And also this way we're not going to get confused when there's a target way out of range. It'll only be detected by the long-range radar at 10 kilometers. So we'll know, okay, it's way out of range. 10 kilometers out of range. Alright, and then the short-range radar goes into here. Alright. Whoops. So I guess we could do one of two things. So we could scale the dots maybe to 1 kilometer. And we can scale the line maybe to, I don't know, whatever, doesn't really matter. Let's see. Alright. So there, you see? It's saving stuff that's close. And it's detecting stuff that's, I'll have to figure out that line. I think that, something's up with the long range radar. Oh, I didn't actually do the distance. That's why. That's why. That is why. Oh boy. Yeah, this is probably quicker. Yep, definitely quicker. Oh, no. I didn't need to do that, I don't think, here. Whoops. Alright, we can just leave that like that. No, I've got it scaled here, but maybe... seems to be way out of play. We can dial this down to 46. Maybe that's what we'll do, see if that helps. Alright, we'll do that, and then we'll do the same for this one here. Alright, there we go. So, now I thought we set this to 1. Yeah. Still detecting off the charts there, I don't know. Whatever. It is printing though, it is detecting other stuff. That is the good thing, that is the good thing. But it's supposed to limit itself to here, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Whatever. That's green, that's that long range. So, let's just go for a little sail here and then see if we can detect some other targets now, like we did last time. Guess I'll get rid of that one. That's probably perfect. I'll set that as the zoom. I'll set that as a static number. So this camera is just a camera out the front. And it's the gunnery camera. And this one here is just going to be temperature, whatever. Whatever it needs to be. Alright. Oh, there we go. Nice. See, except that's down here. Right? So we're heading south. We're heading southbound. And it's detecting targets behind us. They're over here. Whatever it is, it's over here. Yeah, that seems right. Oh, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of whatever they are. Cool. So I like that. See? So now we can sort of see them on there. That's neat. That's neat. All right, let's go see what this could be. Hmm. Oh, I'm so glad the autopilot works. Now, the GPS doesn't appear to be moving with us. That's an issue. What could be going on here? There's something going on here. So we'll give this the GPS map zoom a static number. Yeah, we can set the properties of the map too. We can change the color of the water, the depth. We should go through that. Let's go through that. Let's add that to the video. Why not? So as you saw there, I thought that the targets were in the opposite direction, but in fact, we were facing the opposite direction on the map. So what we also need to do is make sure that we add some type of orientation for our ship onto the map. So let's try and go through that. So something was wrong with the GPS. Oh, it has no electricity. That could be a problem. The GPS had no electricity. The compass had electricity, but the GPS had none. Now it doesn't again rotate. So I'm just gonna take a constant number. I'd like 0.5. I think that should be it'll be a better zoom for that. Now, when we draw the map, that's it. X, Y, zoom. So X and Y obviously is the position of the map, and then as we move around, we should move across the map, right? The map would be static, kind of. So we've got all this kind of stuff. So we could set, I'm not going to use the A value, that's like opacity. I may later on, but that's all that is. If you want it to be like semi-transparent, I think that's pretty cool. So let's see, we could start with the ocean, the deep ocean, and we could just say, we could make that like a dark blue. And then the shallows might as well just be like a light blue. It's so original. And the land itself, make that green. Well, I guess there's grass. Make the land brown. We'll make it brown. And then we'll decide. I just want to show the custom colors. Okay, and then we'll do like a dark green for the grass. Obviously, white for snow. Sand. Let's say, yeah, we'll go with a gold for sand. Where are we here? We have rock and gravel. So I like a dark gray for rock. And maybe a light gray for gravel. Alright, let's see how that looks. Ooh, neat. Hmm. Neat. The white's supposed to be snow. What? Oh, that's the light blue for the shallows. I don't even know. Gravel, maybe? Maybe that's a gravel color? So, we have this multicolored map now. Yeah. Let's see, if we change the ocean to... Let's try this. And then we make the... Huh. Just trying to think of like... I want it to be like a dark blue. Maybe we could try this one here. Alright, once again, you've seen the code. And this is just kind of, again, how we just... I make it and then just play around with it, right? Spawn it in 10, 20 times, look at it. How does it look? Is it the map I want? Yeah. Is it sufferable? Alright. Right, so that's deep ocean, this is shallow ocean, and this is sand. Okay. Neat. That's sand there. Interesting. Oh, something up over there. Now, this map should be upside down in relation to where we are. Right, so that object, let's see. Oh no, because this line is where the radar is detecting it, yeah. Might have to scale it out one more. Might have to go to 1. Yeah, so I made the ugly map. I think what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to get rid of the ugliness. And for now, we'll just stick to the core map. Then on my own time, I'll figure the rest of that out. What I like, what I don't like. That way it's not so confusing. This constant number is going to end up being 1. I like it. So that, now the last thing we can do is, we need to change the radar. We need to change the color of the radar so we can better see it. The circles and the lines. Fortunately, that is in this Lua script here. And we just need to pick one color. I think maybe, could make it orange. Orange red. Just so we can see it. Like, I mean, yeah, I could make it black, and then we'd be able to see it for sure. Maybe that's the way to go. Just make it black. Now that, honestly, I think is going to pretty well complete the radar. Pretty well completed it. Yeah, look at that. So now, what I'll do is we can just change the color of those. I mean, I don't want to because they represent the individual targets, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's cool. Maybe not black because it's over the core map. Maybe something just a little sort of like off. I'm not too sure. Not black. I know blue kind of contrasts as well. And it would kind of blend in a little bit. Could try like a purple maybe. It's just kind of a soft color. Alright, and then we'll recap what we did in this video. Yeah, I guess that's white, whatever. That's cool. One or the other, one or the other. So if we were to scale it, that is at 5 kilometers. Which would be further than that. So you see the scale. Yeah, so the scale is going to have to be like at least 2. Potentially to work with what we've got. You're going to need that. Okay, so what did we do in this video? We took our super simple radar and we expanded it and we copied the super simple radar code and then we edited it so that way we could just print circles instead. Basically, we print circles. We turn the radar on and it prints circles. That's all it does. Where does it get the circles from? Well, every time the radar detects an object, it gives us an on-off value, which we then use to save the rotation and the distance. And that's the value that we use to print to the screen. So we have our short, medium, and long-range radar. We're able to actively detect targets near, far. We were finally then able to superimpose the map. This is like the ultimate radar. This is the ultimate radar. We were then able to superimpose the map over top of it and estimate. I say estimate because we don't really know. A working scale, yeah, probably even a bit more than that. But we're able to get kind of a working scale. You know, we know where the targets are. When they pop up, they're going to pop up around us. This is kind of why I sort of hesitate to, because we're traveling this way. I guess it doesn't really matter, honestly. It doesn't really matter. What we need now, since we're measuring the compass, where does the compass come into? The compass comes into here. What I want to do here is I wanted to add an input for the compass, which could be, what's this one here? Short range radar. So we're going to change the short range radar to a number, and it's going to be compass in. Now what we're going to do with the compass is we're going to feed it into, we need a composite right number. Oh, we already have one actually. And we'll make this channel 2. Is going to be our compass. So when this comes into here, we will say compass equals And we put the 2 in there, and then we'll copy this. And angle B equals rotation. And instead of rotation, we'll say compass. And then we'll copy this. And we need the 2. See what I'm doing here? All I'm doing is we're creating it. Now this one here, it's going to create a line at 48. We don't want that. Maybe we'll make a line that's 10 pixels. Like that. And then what we'll do is 10 is going to be our radius. So it's going to be in the center of the screen when it rotates. Then we're going to draw a line. Actually, we'll do this. And we are going to make this one black. And we're going to go to 2 and 2. So it's going to point in the direction of the compass. I don't know why. Let's see what it does. Huh. It appears to be rotating 360 degrees. That's not right. There, now that is pointing north. I see, so the white line is north. Alright, so then at the end of that line, we can have a text. We can just print some text there, and we'll just have it say N for north. So what we want to do is we want to say, draw text. See how that looks. Oh, we want to offset it just a little bit. So maybe like that. Oh, the line is 10. Alright, so it'll need to be like 14. Alright, so now you kind of get the idea. So now we have a north line. So what if we wanted to make one with south? I believe we take this and we do that. white, 255, 255. Or I could just change that number so it's the opposite. I think it's 3 point or 4 point something, whatever it is. Number 3, not number 2. Number 2 we already have. There we go. So we have south and we have north, but for some reason the north... Oh, because it's there and we're adding. We should be subtracting. We should be minus 4 on the right. On the north should be minus 4. And this one here should be plus 4. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change this just to black. Okay. Now, let's see what we've made. This is crazy what we're making here. So we've sort of gone from the super simple radar to the ultimate radar. This is the ultimate radar. There we go. Perfect. So we face south. The ship faces south. If I rotate the compass, no, that's cool. There's the ship, and there's north. Hey, that's perfect. That's exactly perfect. I guess that wouldn't really be north. That would kind of be, you get the idea. You get the idea here. You get the idea. It's just kind of, you know, you get the idea, I hope. Let's just travel out a little ways and see what it does. Why not? Why not? Oh yeah, see? Except this is turning the right way and the other one is not turning the right way. It's turning the opposite way. Interesting. So perhaps what I need to do for that one is I need to negative that one as well. Interesting. Yeah, this is kind of the bland. So where are we at in the video? Holy cow, we're at an hour. Well, let's do one final test then. Why not? So I hope you're following along. I hope you're really enjoying the videos. I'm enjoying making them. The radar that we started creating that was super simple has evolved into something incredible. we are gonna do, or I am gonna make a oh, they're both facing that way. Alright, well I guess that's okay. We have a way to align the ship on the radar. And that's cool. I guess that's all I wanted. So I can get rid of one of those lines. And that'll kind of do it further here. We'll just get rid of one of them. This one here. And that way we know which way the ship is facing on the screen. Then we can do another one for north. But probably what I'll have to do is instead of doing this, right, we'll have to do this. And I'll have to change this number around. Or I might actually have to rotate the compass. Actually, it's probably what I'll do. I'll probably have to set up another compass. Now that I know that compass we put in here is facing the wrong direction, but it works for the ship's rotation, we can do this. Like that. Kind of neat. And then we could use that for north. But I'll do that in the next video on my own. Once again, let's save this here. Thank you so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. I hope you are enjoying the videos. And I hope to see you all in the next one.